What a world! What a world, Rick! What a world! Is this allowed? Are we allowed to live in a world where a no-good, spoiled son of a bitch in a Burberry knockoff scarf can submit a world-class, multi-generational, beloved hero in the wrestling ring? Is that's what's going on? Hey, everybody, I'm Kev Kellum. That is Rick Uccino. This is Sportskeeda Wrestling. We are live following a very eventful, a very insane episode of AEW Dynamite. WWE NXT, they're bleeding, baby, to get you on to Peacock this Sunday for NXT TakeOver. We'll preview that card. So much to get into. Why are you standing still? Share the link or you stink. Rick is in an Airbnb in Las Vegas. Cats and dogs getting married. It is insanity. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. What's up, everybody?
See now, when you first started off,
Mhm.
I thought you were, when you're talking about, is this allowed? I thought you meant me and you being on the debrief instead of Jose and Rico tonight. God knows our smiling faces are just everywhere on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube,
Smiling?
Twitter.
You're smiling. You're smiling after the shit you pulled at the SummerSlam Trivia Showdown.
Hold on. You mean the new SummerSlam Trivia Champion over here?
All right, if you want to check that out,
WU.
I know we're less than 2 minutes. I know we're less than 2 minutes in, and I'm already doing plugs here. But if you want to check that out, you can go check out our SummerSlam Showdown, our Trivia Showdown, which is very, very entertaining. Even if you kind of got a little bit of a spoiler there, play along. It's 25 questions. Some of the questions are very, very hard.
Yes, they were.
Yeah, shout out where you're from. If you're watching for the first time, Mike is in Marysville, California. All right. Other people sounding off here. And our very own Mike on social media who's running the chat for us saying, Rick, seriously, how much for the sensational sherry painting that is at your Airbnb in Vegas for SummerSlam this weekend? He will Venmo you.
Hey, okay. I like I said earlier on our top story, I have never ever left a casino with money, so I need as much funds as I can. I don't own this painting, but I will sell it. So make your best offer.
All right, so we are live following AEW Dynamite, a very eventful episode in Houston, Texas, a hot crowd for them. We will talk about the show. We'll run it down. We'll also preview this week's NXT TakeOver, which is a really stacked show. That show really came together. I think they really put something special together. Really fun ending. We will talk about which wedding engagement was more entertaining on Wednesday nights. Shows kind of copying each other, and we'll get your comments on screen here.
Okay, first off, one was legit. All right, one was legitimate, one wasn't. So let's not say they're copying.
Yeah,
what happened?
We're not.
Come
yeah,
on.
You can't say that. But it would be fun. It'd be funny if that was the case. We'll find out more about that in the future here. We got people watching from Missouri. We got people watching from Montana. All right. So shout out where you guys are watching from. Even if you're on demand, get down there in the chat. Let us know what's up. We are within 500 subscribers of our goal of 20,000 on YouTube. If you're with us on YouTube, go ahead and join us on there. Let's jump right into it. The main event of AEW Dynamite. We'll work our way down here from this. The final labor of Chris Jericho for nearly a year now. Nearly a year, it feels like. They have been together going at it here with MJF, a part of the Inner Circle. Then he broke off and he turned on Chris Jericho and formed the Pinnacle. And then there was the labors of Jericho that MJF created to build all these different hurdles that Jericho would have to go through to get to him, including a bloody match where he got cut with a pizza slicer by Nick Gage, and a throwback cruiserweight match where he had to jump off the top rope against Juventud Guerrera, and chairs and all these different things. And Jericho finally gets MJF, but he can't use the Judas effect.
Right.
He can't have an entrance.
But he got an entrance. He got the entrance of a lifetime.
Some news about that. I learned something about that recently.
AEW was banking that crowd in Houston would be able to sing Jericho's entrance music tonight. And boy, you got to give the credit to that crowd. Because singing in unison, I have been to crowds before who can't even chant, "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" in unison. And they sung half of an entire song in unison, crystal clear, plain as day. Jericho's already tweeted out that it was an all-time moment for him. So that was just an absolutely incredible. That's the win for Chris Jericho tonight. He didn't get the win against MJF, but
no,
that was
he did not. He did not. Final moments. I thought this was a solid match. I don't know if it was the best match in the show because there were some really, really exciting things on the show. This is another fantastic episode of Dynamite for AEW. This is just barn burner stuff they're doing right now. And MJF taps out Chris Jericho. They teased the finish. They did the code breaker. They had him in the lion tamer. MJF found a way to kick his way out of that. And he also tried to cheat, and they did the baseball bat to the gut. They did all the different tricks and trades, but finally he gets him in that arm bar, and it's the injured arm that he's been able to work on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And here is Chris Jericho past 50 with his arm trapped here. No choice to get out of it. Nearly got pinned, got dropped on his head. Chris Jericho, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, submits after going through all the different things he did just to have a match with MJF that we thought was going to be on All Out, that we got on TV. Taps out Chris Jericho.
Life's a bitch, ain't it? I loved it. I loved this
long-term storyline booking. This makes sense. This makes more sense than doing anything else.
Yeah, look, they have done such a great job of building up MJF. He is by far their top heel in sense of getting heat. And Jericho, this was always going to be the end game as far as this feud was concerned. And it does make sense. And they did protect Chris Jericho to a certain extent. He did have to go through hell the previous 4 weeks. So he's battered, he's bruised, he's beaten up. MJF is healthy, he's fresh, he's ready to go. And I love the fact that Jericho couldn't use the Judas effect, but MJF comes in and uses the Judas effect. And it was Jericho's natural reaction to go to the Judas effect and then realize, crap, I can't use it, which allowed MJF to use it. And then he locks in the arm bar and he can't. Jericho held on for as long as he could before he finally did tap out. This makes MJF look really, really good. It's great storytelling there. I wonder where Chris Jericho is going to go from here. That is a big question there, but this was all about protecting MJF and putting him over in the end, and I thought they did the absolute right job. Kevin, go solo here for a second because I actually have to go let Jose in after his flight was delayed. I got to go let him into the Airbnb, so I will be right back.
All right, you go ahead and do that. Want to remind you guys that you can join us live here on all of our different live shows all the time. We'll be live after SummerSlam. We will be live after TakeOver. So make sure you go down there, especially if you're watching on YouTube, and you click the notification buttons. You set all those reminders for you. Also, you can do that on Facebook as well. I know plenty of people watch us on Facebook. Just look for that extra little follow button. You can get all your notifications when we're live as well. A lot of different stuff to cover. Also, if you want to check out our stuff in audio form, we have this up as a podcast as well. 7 days a week of content for you guys to check out there. Sound off on this here. People talking about Nick Gage versus MJF. Is that a match that's going to happen now? Who knows? I think MJF is definitely going to have a role on the upcoming All Out pay-per-view. It seems like it'd be a waste to not have him after this big win be a part of that pay-per-view in just a few weeks. A lot of changes to that pay-per-view. We thought we were getting Jericho versus MJF after all these different labors on that show. Why now? Why did this happen now? Why have this match on TV now? Why not save it for the pay-per-view? It doesn't make much sense. Rick, what do you think here? Why do this match now? I mean, we knew it was coming up. Some people thought it could be maybe an angle that would delay and we would get ourselves to the final end at All Out. Maybe just another way to get this thing a little bit more juice out of the berry. But no, they went with this ending that is surprising. I don't want to say deflating to a degree, but it feels like The Empire Strikes Back when Luke Skywalker gets his hand cut off by his dad.
I think this is just all about, look, All Out is
sorry if I spoiled Empire Strikes Back for you. That movie came out 40 years ago.
I was going to say, if you haven't seen it yet, you're probably not going to. But I think this is, All Out is already a great card. All Out is already stacked. It really doesn't need Jericho and MJF. Like, this is all about making each and every single one of their shows feel as special as possible. I had a chance to talk to Jon Moxley a couple weeks ago to preview Dynamite, which is coming up in Cincinnati, which, by the way, I cannot wait for as a Cincinnati guy, and I'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit because what AEW does with their hometown heroes is really, really, really refreshing. But look, he talked about how they spread out their pay-per-views. All right, so there is no quick build-up and then you put everything up. Like, they don't have an Extreme Rules or they don't have a Payback where they put these kind of matches on. So they can't stretch everything out to their major pay-per-views. So it's all about making each individual Dynamite or Rampage feel special to get people to tune in. You never know what's going to happen. So putting this kind of a match on TV for free, yeah, it's all about popping the ratings. It's all about making AEW Dynamite look better and making it a better show. As far as value is concerned to AEW, where does it make more sense to put MJF and Chris Jericho? On pay-per-view or on Dynamite? I think the argument can be made. It benefits them better in the long run by putting that match on Dynamite.
Yeah, I know. Let me know what you guys think here with your reaction buttons. If you don't want to type anything, thumbs up if you're feeling this angle, if you feel like they can do more with it to the pay-per-view. Heart if you're just feeling bad for your man Chris Jericho. Let us know what you think here.
Other quick minor thought.
Mm-hmm.
It could be the possibility that they wanted to end this early because you got some other people who might be coming in who might be pegged for MJF off the bat. Maybe somebody like a CM Punk, maybe somebody like a Bryan Danielson. I think that would make a lot of sense as well. So that could be it. That could be part of the reason why they put this match on early, is because they want to go ahead and get MJF squared up and ready to go for whomever is next for him. Michael's with you. Punk versus MJF, just the back and forth on the mic would be worth it. Is this just a way to get Chris Jericho? It's weird to think that Chris Jericho, one of the biggest superstars of all time, the guy who really kicked down the door for AEW as a brand beyond the guys they already had, right? But certainly the one that brought fans into it, is now just kind of like not going to be on this pay-per-view, apparently, or at least not on a match. If he's losing. I mean, look, this goes back to the pseudo retirement speech that Cody Rhodes gave, right? Like they built up guys like Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho, and Cody Rhodes isn't even anywhere close to the age of Chris Jericho, but it seems like it is because he's been around for forever. But these guys have been everywhere. They've been the face of the brand for the first 2 years of its existence. But now you've got so much talent. You've got a bevy of superstars. You got young up-and-comers like Jungle Boy and Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy. And then you bring in the fresh crop of new guys like Miro and Malachi Black and Andrade El Idolo. And now you have Christian in the fold going up against Kenny Omega as well. They have so many stars at their fingertips. It makes sense for guys like Chris Jericho and Cody Rhodes, who have helped carry the flag for the first 2 years, to kind of step back, especially Jericho, who's going to be touring with Fozzy as well. So he's got 2 full-time gigs that he does all right now. On top
of the podcast, on top of the book. Yeah, he's got a lot.
Yes. Cody's got a new family, and Cody's got like a reality show and game shows that he's filming. So these guys have other interests. They have other stars. So yeah, it's probably for the betterment of the brand and the people who are waiting in the wings for them to take a backseat for a while.
I mean, the week-to-week angles on the TV show are exciting, but I'm not saying All Out isn't catching me, because I think more everyone waiting for Punk to show up, everyone waiting for Daniel Bryan to show up,
sure, yeah,
is looming over everything. And it's not to say that I think everything's in a holding pattern, because no one's wrestling like it was in a holding pattern. Storyline wise, though, it does feel like bigger things are coming. So we're going to do this until we can get there. So why don't we just get this Jericho MJF thing out of the way? And I hope it's not like that, because it's like, I wanted this to end on a pay-per-view. I would have preferred an ending like that on a pay-per-view than on TV. And it's weird to say that. I'm not complaining. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, we got it for free.
Yeah. Yeah. So give us your ratings here for this week's NXT and AEW. Anthony Bruno is with us all the time. Thank you so much, Anthony, one of our diehards on YouTube, giving this week's NXT a 7.5 and an 8 out of 10 for AEW. Let's talk about some other big angles on this week's AEW Dynamite. We won't go through the whole card. We'll talk about just the big notes. If there's other things you guys want us to bring up, let us know. Big moment in this week's show were a lot of other WCW names being featured. Stephen Chambers bringing up Paul White versus QT Marshall. That is official. QT Marshall breaking a little bit of a HIPAA violation, showing the hip surgery of Paul White, the Big Show.
The big beautiful ass of the Big Show.
Yeah, I thought that was a great line by him. I thought that was very funny. And that they will be official. Big Show wrestling for AEW. This will be his first match for them, taking on QT Marshall at the All Out pay-per-view.
And how many decades now does that make in a row that the Big Show has been wrestling? Is that 4 now? 4 straight? Started in the 90s,
2010, 2000. Yeah. So and his friend Mark Henry said he wants to do the same thing, be able to wrestle in 4 decades.
Yeah.
So certainly interesting.
Good for Show. Paul White. Good for Paul. I'm glad that he's getting to do some new stuff, some different things. I'm glad that he's I'm glad that he's happy. Like a lot of these guys like, Big Show and Mark Henry and Christian, they all came over here because they weren't happy with what they were being given or what they were being offered in WWE, and now they're getting a chance to be utilized and do some things and be on TV. And Paul's going to get to wrestle in his 4th straight decade. I'm not saying this match necessarily moves the needle for me, but I'm happy for those who were involved.
I was going to say I don't mind Big Show being in it, but I was just saying QT's. I don't have any issue with him, but the factory is just goons. Like what are they? What makes them unique? What makes them special? They're just guys. Like, and it feels weird to say that, but there's plenty of people in AEW that are just guys. They're just there. Like what I know it seems like I'm belittling them. This isn't like a bias or anything. There's too many people in AEW that don't have a character.
And a lot of them are the younger guys. And a lot of them are the younger guys who are trying to cut their teeth and learn the business better and get better at the in-ring skills. That was Lance Storm tweeted something about this week. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he said it was like, look, you have to learn the job before you can put on the uniform. And it's basically
then why do you have the uniform on?
Well, I mean,
like,
they don't have the character. They don't have the character.
Then don't put it on TV. That's what Elevation's for. That's what Dark's for. These guys are on. I mean, QT is a veteran guy. He's been there for a while. But what's his character? I train wrestlers and I get to know stuff backstage. That's my character. That's like smart Mark.
I'm not talking about QT in particular, but you do have a lot of younger guys who are still trying to learn the business and learn their in-ring stuff, and they are on Elevation and they don't have a whole lot of character yet because they don't know who they are in the ring yet. So that does make some sense to me.
Yeah, that was my issue. Another wonderful thing, an amazing opener. Just an amazing opening match.
Yeah.
Everrise. You formerly knew them in WWE NXT. We will talk about NXT because NXT, I thought, had a very eventful show this week. And they did not get the run and deserve that they did there. They have already been utilized quite a bit in All Elite Wrestling. 3 weeks. They have been involved in angles with Jon Moxley, with some of the biggest names in the company. They got beat up by Jon Moxley. They got beat up by all these different people. And it is clear that AEW wants to show that, like, when you come over to us, we're going to try and do something with you no matter what. And
they do right off the bat.
And they did right away. 3rd week in the company, these guys, along with Danny Garcia, who's a hot name on the independent circuit, AEW pulling him off of some independent events, by the way. So it seems like they're going to lock him down here in a second. This trio taking on Darby Allin and his makeup brother, the legendary, the icon, Sting. Sting's first match on TNT in 20 years. One of I believe this is maybe his 3rd official match for All Elite Wrestling in general. This was a brawl. This wasn't all in the ring. There's a reason for that. Yeah. You still have a 62-year-old Sting there with spinal stenosis, so he was getting punched and kicked, and they moved around. But if you did notice this, didn't take a lot of bumps. This is very well done.
One big one.
One big one, and the ones he did take were big. And the one he did take that was big, and that's when he got double powerbomb through a table, and as a 62-year-old man, he got up and pounded his chest and said, "No!" The Stinger and Darby Allin win this one. A fun, wild match. Just a great opener going through the crowd. Really, really enjoyed this. This was my match of the night. I really, really loved it. I thought it was special.
This was like a perfect marriage of old and new and comedic and brutality. Like it just had everything in there. And yeah, 2.0, people that we barely knew in NXT they were mostly on 205 Live. Like they could not get hardly on TV at all in NXT. Very well liked backstage. Very over with the hardcore audience, but not a whole lot of people knew who they were. And these are guys who are coming in here and they are getting heat and they are showing their comedic side as well. I loved the reactions on their faces when Sting popped up out of the table and just did the double pound chest like they knew they were screwed. Like it was over. There was no point in even trying. I did think it was a little weird tonight that Tony Schiavone said that there had never been a double Scorpion Deathlock when we have definitely seen that move a million times in professional wrestling. Maybe not the Scorpion Deathlock exactly, but let's be honest, it is a sharpshooter. We've seen double. I know Natalya has done it on a dozen occasions, but that's one slight little critique. But this was a very unique match. I liked it a lot. I don't have a problem with Sting going over here. Sting is doing his job to perfection, helping Darby get over. Occasionally, he's going to get his big pops and have his big moments, but he's not there to rule on top of the card. He's more often than not, he's there to help out Darby. And I like this match a lot. And it was just fun to see Sting wrestle again on TNT, especially, with him being in the shape that he's in. And, he didn't take a whole lot of bumps because let's be honest, that bump card, not a lot of space left on it. But he ticked off one big bump card slot tonight.
And no-sold it.
And no-sold the hell out of it, which I loved. It was hilarious.
Maybe he won't be selling it. Maybe he won't be no-selling it tomorrow when he wakes up, but that's a whole other story. It is another match worth noting. We could talk about Ricky Starks and Brian Cage, their confrontation. That was sort of a forgetable segment. Just something in the ring, then something backstage. Weird. Then we got to go backstage. And
hey, props to Tony Schiavone. That was one of the lines of the night. Him earning his frequent flyer miles because he was going all over the place tonight. They have like 5 backstage interviewers. I don't know why Tony Schiavone was all over the place tonight.
Exactly, he was involved in all those backstage segments. We also got Thunder Rosa and Penelope Ford. Solid match. Nothing big to write home. Yeah, just fun. Nothing big to write home about there. Sean Spears versus Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara going over on him. Sammy Guevara getting engaged before the show went live. That is legit engaged. This is a shoot engagement. Shoot engagement here.
Shoot. No words here.
Yeah, but another big match in the show. Young Bucks versus Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Another example that ladders, chairs, steel guardrails simply just don't matter in AEW, but they are fun to see. Sting gets powerbombed through one. He doesn't get pinned. Sammy Guevara slams Sean Spears on one on a steel guardrail. He doesn't get pinned. Jungle Boy does that brain breaker on a steel chair on the same show. This is all in 1 2-hour show. No one gets pinned. So these hardcore things, they mean nothing. They mean nothing.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything that AEW does as far as in-ring psychology makes a ton of sense because it doesn't. There are
storytelling.
There is a lot of still spot fest happening.
Who's the producer? Who's the producer that steps in and says, "No, we're doing a guardrail in the Sammy Guevara match. We're not doing a spine buster on a steel chair a half an hour later." We already had Sting kick out of a table break. Who stepped in and saw that? If you watch the show, it'd be like, why would I ever care about a street fight in AEW ever again if it's not going to mean anything?
Yeah. I mean, look, there were a couple of spots that I would have done.
Notice when MJF got hit with a baseball bat at the end of the night. No, people were popping for everyone, but no one's like, oh, he's definitely going to get him with that baseball bat in the gut. No, you saw Sting kick out of a powerbomb through a table in the first hour of the show.
Yeah,
there was a lot of there's stuff they do like that that's really, really aggravating. It's really just, we don't insult your intelligence, but we're going to do this thing that breaks the common understanding of wrestling for 2 hours.
If you could minus the DQ finishes that WWE does so often. If you could take the in-ring psychology of WWE and the just overall way to put together a show and promos and character building and all that and mold it into one company, holy shitballs, wrestling would be perfect, but it's not perfect. There's a lot of things that AEW does that does bother me. Most of it in-ring stuff. Sammy Guevara should have pinned Sean Spears after the senton, the 650 senton. That was the logical ending to the match.
And that was, mind you, that senton was after they already bent a guardrail in half.
Yeah, exactly. So he bends the guardrail in half. And then
everyone having pay-per-view matches that they aren't having because maybe they're not booked on the pay-per-view. Like, is that what's going on here?
I mean, it's definitely possible. I do want to say one thing real quick. Hang on. One thing. Jose is asking me to send him the link because he wants to hop in. So give me a second.
He's down the hall, right?
Yeah, he's down the hall. Hang on.
I can get it to him. Don't worry.
Okay, yeah. So, but there is one thing I want to go back to with Sammy Guevara tonight. For the second straight week, we had a hometown hero come back to their city and get a massive pop and get a really, really big moment in front of the live crowd there. And I just can't get over the fact of how refreshing that is to showcase and to just utilize the hometown people and really make an emphasis out of it. Sammy Guevara got a fantastic moment where he proposes to his girlfriend in the middle of the ring in front of the hometown crowd. She says yes. He gets this match with Shawn Spears, and then he goes over and the crowd loses his mind. He's able to go out into the audience and hug his new fiance and give her a kiss. Great moment, piggybacking off what we saw with Britt Baker in Pittsburgh last week. And this is me as a Cincinnati sports fan. I hate the terrible towel probably more than anything on this planet, but seeing the Pittsburgh flags wave around and Britt Baker still doing her thing and AEW not trying to force the audience to hey, there's Jose, force the audience to cheer or, boo or do that. And then they didn't have Britt Baker go out there and start insulting the Pittsburgh crowd just because she's a heel. They embraced it. They embraced her as the hometown hero because they knew what the audience wanted. They wanted to cheer for Britt Baker. They were going to cheer for Britt Baker. They didn't try to dictate how the crowd should react to Britt Baker. They just embraced the hometown hero. We don't get a whole lot of that in WWE. We don't get a whole lot of SummerSlam 1992, British Bulldog winning the Intercontinental Championship in front of his home country. What we usually get is Big E losing the Intercontinental Championship at Raymond James Stadium, a field that he played on when he was in high school in front of his hometown. He loses the Intercontinental Championship inside of like 7 minutes at WrestleMania in Tampa Bay when that could have been a really big
Tell
thing.
me about AEW. We don't have to fall for that trap where it was like, well, in WWE they don't do this, but in AEW they do this, so it's great.
I love the fact that AEW embraces the hometown people, and I cannot wait to see the Jon Moxley show in Cincinnati. They're going to make it a really big deal, and they should, because more often than not, the WWE superstars get dogged out in their hometown, and it bothers me. So I appreciate AEW for not trying to dictate the audience to cheer how they want them to cheer and to celebrate the hometown crowd. Jose, you know what I'm talking about. Back me up.
Jose, you're joining us. You're down the hall from where he is in Las Vegas at the Airbnb. And
I'm literally next door. I'm in the next room right behind Rick right now. I literally just walked in the door like 15 minutes ago after having a canceled flight or rain delay. It was just it took me longer to get to Vegas than it took me to get to Germany.
This is why I said to get a direct flight.
I tried to. Nothing was available. And everything that was a nonstop, it was Frontier. And I ain't flying Frontier. Hell no.
All right. So before AEW, thumbs up episode.
What did I miss today? What I missed today?
You were in the air, buddy. I'll tell you all about it. But thumbs up episode for AEW. Absolutely loved it. Solid. I'm feeling like a solid 7 to 8 out of 10 for this show. Very eventful. A lot of pay-per-view payoff type things here. And of course, this Friday seems like we're getting CM Punk sold out at the United Center. We're getting Jon Moxley in action. We're getting a handful of things. I was surprised they did not stack this card coming up on Friday. There is not like a big title match or anything added to that show. That it really feels like it is. You're getting what you're expecting here. So like they're kind of letting the internet do the hype for them on their own without having to push it here. We'll talk about that. Some news coming from Fightful. Tip of the cap to them. Tip of the cap to my buddies over there, Robert DeFelice. Tip of the cap to them, Sean Rossap, all those buddies. Breaking news today that Warner Media executives, they own TNT and TBS, where AEW has their partnership here for broadcasting, are aware of the CM Punk situation, and they are excited to put all of their efforts behind it. So when your media partner is excited about something, that's always a good sign. Jose, we're a few days out from this story, which even though we have SummerSlam on Saturday, even though we have TakeOver on Sunday, Friday night, there's going to be a lot of eyes on Chicago.
Oh, yes. There will be tons and millions and millions of eyes all over Chicago this Friday night.
The lady who's renting this Airbnb to you is going to be really upset with all your nerddom yelling down the hall.
It's only 8 o'clock here. It's fine. It's fine.
Exactly. It's still early.
It's going to be very exciting here. A question from Hunter Iggy. I didn't want to leave this hanging here. Thank you for joining the show, Hunter. If you guys have questions about different things going on in wrestling, we'll get to these as soon as we can. We'll also talk about NXT because Jose was there. We got to see this very, very wild go-home show for TakeOver. Sportskeeda Wrestling, I have a question. Do you think Adam Cole will stay with WWE or go to AEW? What is the latest on this as the Adam Cole turns baby? Adam Cole set to take on his former undisputed stablemate, Kyle O'Reilly, in a 3 Stages of Hell this Sunday, which many people think will be his write-off on NXT. He's currently working on a short-term contract extension, which will end sometime this week. Has he signed a new deal? We don't know. What's the latest?
If there's one thing I can guarantee, this will be his swan song to NXT. Where he goes next, flip a coin. I have no freaking clue.
I wouldn't be mad if he ends up in AEW, but I really think that he would do well if they put him on Raw. I think Raw really needs someone like Adam Cole, and Adam Cole can really benefit from that. But if he ends up doing the jump to AEW, then so be it. His wife is there, or his girlfriend's there, so might as well keep it all under the same promotion.
My issue is I don't know where you put him. I Rampage is only an hour, and you have angles you have to pay off from Dynamite there as well, and other things. I don't know. I just don't know if the bandwidth is there. You don't bring Adam Cole in there to work matches on your YouTube web show, which isn't broadcasted. You just don't spend that type of money. And NXT is treating him like a main event star. They're putting him in main events. They're putting him in top level angles. They're giving him, the vignettes and the packages and all those different efforts. And the word is that, Adam Cole had a meeting with Vince McMahon recently, and that meeting, he was offered some things, and ideas were pitched to him in terms of, we would like to do this with you. Despite, the changes in NXT, which many people think are negative, and we'll get into those. You were there. Maybe you get to see some of these here, Jose. Adam Cole staying in WWE, to me, makes a lot more sense than him going to AEW. It just makes more sense than anyone else right now. I was like, so many more stories he can tell, I think, in WWE that he hasn't told yet, with people he hasn't had matches with yet. We haven't seen him in Rollins. We haven't seen him in Cesaro. We haven't seen him in Big E. We haven't seen him in Reigns. So those are a lot of money there, and Raw needs fresh faces. And he can come in and really shake up that show, especially with Raw. I mean, SmackDown, sure, it'd be fun. There's a bunch of
but Raw needs a desperate need of some good talent, and Adam Cole is top. And also
in AEW, those will be televised matches, but those are a lot of people he's wrestled with already. He's wrestled with the Bucks. He's wrestled with those people. He's done a lot of cool stuff. You can find them. Obviously, I think for diehard fans who are just they're not drinking the Kool-Aid, they're living in the Kool-Aid of AEW. They would love to see you there because they just want the disruptor. That's what they want.
And guys, don't sleep on SmackDown either. I know SmackDown. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm with you
Kevin.
on this.
I know SmackDown.
That's his show. That's his show.
I know SmackDown is stacked right now, like absolutely right this moment. But don't forget that there is a draft coming up in October. So you have guys who are on SmackDown right now who could easily go over to Raw and help fill that out. So, he could go to either show if he really wants to. So if, reports are that Vince, I don't know how true these reports are, Vince offered him $1 million a year, whatever. Well, however big that bag is, if Adam Cole wants to be on Fox, Adam Cole's going to be on Fox, and he'll be on Friday Night SmackDown. Give me, Adam Cole and Finn Balor, run that bad boy back. Give me him and Sami Zayn. There's a lot of guys, him and Kevin Owens, hell, I almost said something else. But there's a lot of really intriguing matchups there. But I don't know what's the most important thing. I do know a lot of Adam Cole's close friends have been released recently. Britt Baker is over AEW. Does he want more control, creative freedom? Is he worried that, he's going to go up with all the promises in the world on the main roster and then end up like Andrade or Shawn Spears or Keith Lee or Karrion Kross or all these other guys that have come up with promises of the world, and then a month later they're part of the catering crew. So there's a lot to consider here if you're Adam Cole, and there's going to be a lot of options on the table too.
Totally. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. So let's get into WWE NXT, an eventful episode for them. You guys don't want to go anywhere, especially if you're just following AEW. This is a great way for you to catch up NXT if you're not watching about it as well. So let's get fit into it. I really enjoyed this week's show. I thought this was this is a go-home show. This felt like a very, very eventful show, and the things that weren't go-home shows were meaningful. If you enjoyed the fun side show that is the Way and Indy Hartwell and her silent, creepy,
how over
fiance,
are those? That
Nick
couple
Dex,
is so over, Kevin.
Team Index. Team
Index, dude. I love it. They are a weird, odd couple. I like that they're not a normal couple. I like that they're odd. Like everything about them is weird and different and like goofy. That's like your friends in high school where they're like the nerds who hook up and they just don't stop making out in public. That's the vibe I got. Like the theater kids that like hooked up with some kid from the AV club.
Is it sad that you say that and I immediately think of those, like I can see the actual people's faces from 12 years ago.
Yes. I'm the Picasso with words.
Listen, I gotta tell you guys,
words.
So I took my wife for the very first time to this NXT show last night. She never been to an NXT show before.
Did she have a good time?
Not even. She absolutely loved it, and she was screaming on the top of her lungs for Index because that's her favorite storyline right now. Even though she doesn't watch wrestling,
dude,
but she knows what's going on with Index.
You talk to female wrestling fans. Index, that couple getting together, the will they or won't they type thing, is the number one thing with female fans that I talk to. I have a couple of female fans I talk to, and they are like, they love it. They think it's the coolest thing.
Dude, and the pop that they got when they got engaged,
she engaged him, and then he just nodded.
It was so loud. And then the chants were like, he said yes, he said yes. It was a wild time. It was definitely a go-home show.
And then the kiss. Is this the first time they kissed on TV? They've kissed once or twice on
television.
No,
they did that. They did it in the Lover or Leaver match. When she was leaving with Johnny and Candice, she looked back and then she ran into the ring and pounced on him and started making out.
Yeah. She pounced on him like Ric Flair on a train.
Go watch today's top story video. It is up now on our YouTube channel. We talked.
But I like how Rick responded to that. He's like, "The Nature Boy doesn't ride trains." Whoa.
He is the train.
Choo-choo, baby.
The Nature Boy doesn't ride the train. You ride the Nature Boy.
Oh, God. Let's keep it PG, guys.
Indy popped the question, someone is going to ruin the wedding. Yes, wrestling weddings are meant to be ruined. That's what they are. This is our second wrestling engagement of the week. I loved it. I thought it was a great angle. Tell me what else you thought about the experience of being in the Capitol Wrestling Center.
So I've been both at Full Sail when there used to be a Full Sail and at the Capitol Wrestling Center. Now at the Capitol Wrestling Center, the seating capacity is not as much as it is in Full Sail because in Full Sail, they got the bleacher gimmick going on and you can fit a lot more people in the bleachers there. And I think they can fit up to about 1,500 people in that Full Sail venue and the Capitol Wrestling Center, it doesn't look like that much because they really cram people at Full Sail. It was still a pretty good crowd. I liked the setting of everything. It was a really good show. We got the 205 live taping right before NXT went live on the Iron USA Network. But overall, it was a pretty good show. That Dragunov and Roderick Strong match, though, my God, when Roderick Strong was chopping the living daylights out of Ilya Dragunov after he was busted open, all you saw was just a red cloud of sweat and blood. It was ridiculous. They had to even change the canvas after that match and wipe down the ropes like 3 or 4 times of how bloody Dragunov was.
Yeah, they're doing the gimmick with all the highlights now where they put it in black and white. At what point did he get busted open? Because that was a lot of blood.
So that spot actually happened when he was doing one of his German suplexes, and he landed right on Roddy's like right on his forehead, and right after that, bro, Roddy's back was full of blood. His face, his nose was just dripping blood left and right. But yeah, man, it was out of this world. That was a really, really good match. And then we got Walter later on in the night too. And it was just a really good go-home show for NXT TakeOver 36.
We're not supposed to have vanilla midgets anymore in WWE NXT, but here is a big, giant, brutal ring general crushing this very charismatic guy from Russia. I have to say this. These guys were brought over from NXT UK with an angle they had there that they did in front of no one in an isolated TV studio. They had no fans whatsoever. NXT's had the benefit of fans outside of Raw and SmackDown now for a very long time. It's worth noting here that it's interesting when you look at NXT and you look at TakeOver, that match that they had on NXT UK was so good that everyone says WWE doesn't recognize what NXT does, and they just look to see who are the strong guys from there, and then we'll pick them off and bring them over to Raw and SmackDown. I think this is a case where they said, no, UK was really good. We need to recognize that. We need to bring this over to the States. We need to do Dragunov and Walter in the States. I think this is the best angle night they had for this storyline. This is the right time to have this heat. The blood helped. It made you believe that Dragunov just was not going to quit. He has to be. You have to almost kill this guy to keep him down. And I'm forgetting that Pete Dunne pinned him last week. I'm forgetting that because
this was good makeup.
Yeah, it was perfect makeup. Him beating Roderick Strong makes sense. Roderick Strong's a great gatekeeper. You need those guys. And he looks like he's a threat to Walter. Walter had to attack him at the end of the night. MSK and Imperium have a tag team match. MSK is able to get out of it with the tag titles. Frenetic, crazy action. Dragunov's in the ring. Oh, he's bloodied again. And that boom, chop. Oh, that chop's brutal. Loving it. Walter, Dragunov, let's talk about it this Sunday on TakeOver. Who do you guys got? Something makes me think that Dragunov is winning this NXT UK title, Rick.
Gosh darn it. Yeah, maybe, but it's gotten to the point with Walter. I'm not going to believe it until I see it. Like
he's had the belt like a long time.
What is it, like 800 days? What was it? It's been
the longest reigning NXT. He's the longest reigning champion in all of WWE. Right now.
I know, and I know the much like with Kaylee Ray, the pandemic played a big part in elongating that title run. I don't know if Dragunov is the guy to take the belt off of him, but they've done a good job of making you think that he has a shot. But I still think Walter somehow, some way, by hook or crook, Walter's gonna walk away with that belt this weekend.
What do you say? You were there. What do you think? You got the real vibe, Jose.
I think this is Ilya Dragunov's time. I think what we're gonna see is Walter make his transition from NXT UK to full blown NXT, have a run as NXT champion, then go to the main roster. Walter's a hot commodity, man, and I think this is the time to bring him over to NXT US, make him the top guy, one of the top guys over there. Then bring him over maybe some point next year. Because he did remember that Survivor Series when it was NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown, when it was
he was in and out of the match in 2 minutes.
He was in and out of the match. Exactly. So I think if we can get Walter and build him up properly, I mean, the guy's over 800 days as champion right now, as the NXT UK champion. If he can give him a similar run with the NXT title and then bring him up to the main roster, I think that would be a smart move. But I got Ilya Dragunov winning on Sunday.
Now, hasn't Walter said that he's not too keen on being over here on this side of the pond on a full-time basis? Hasn't he said that before?
He has said that. He is a guy who enjoys being in Europe and likes the European lifestyle and likes being there. He has said that. So
maybe he does make the transition, but maybe he's not there every week. Maybe he works the Brock Lesnar schedule. I don't know.
It's also worth noting that WWE NXT UK, they've had it for years and years, right? And there's been delays of why they started it. They were waiting for a TV home for it. Then they got that. And I would say this is a match that I've heard more UK fans talk about recently. Is this Dragunov-Walter combination is a really solid match. They have a great roster there, but WWE has a lot of television that comes out. And I do think the UK brand doesn't get the love it deserves, but that match last year really turned some heads. I think it's a great thing by WWE saying, let's call this up. Also noting this, if you're in the locker room in Florida and you're in the PC, guess who got pushed down the card here? All right. There's a handful of people that got pushed down the card because they said, we're going with Walter, we're going with Dragunov, we're making all these changes, and you guys are getting pecked down here. And if you're going to go this direction, I don't mind it. I'm not hating it. You know what I mean?
You're right about that, though. You're right about that because
and also
Kushida
these guys
got taken off the card last night.
Dragunov and Walter did something that I think a lot of WWE superstars have to do. They have to carry those interviews outside of the company. They were on the bump today, which is in WWE, but they did the FaceTime thing, and it felt like a pay-per-view fight. Like it felt like a really, really serious thing. And Walter kept saying, "I don't care how passionate you are. Like, it doesn't matter how passionate you are. Like your passion means nothing." it was so matter of fact. And this is the first time I really saw Walter kind of come out of his shell. He's always been very straightforward, and the ambiance of him and what he does in the ring speaks for him. And I was like, this is really, really good. And it's like good storytelling. It's like, I've beaten you. I don't know why you keep doing this. And this will be the last time I tolerate this. And it was like really, really cool tone. I like it. I'm feeling this match. I'm enjoying it. What other highlights from NXT do you want to cover here?
Well, we did have, let me see, what else? It was Index. We had Ilya Dragunov and Roddy. We had the MSK match with Imperium, which was really good. If I thought for a moment there Imperium was going to take it, but MSK ended up retaining. And MSK starting to catch a little bit of steam because they were getting booed several, I think it was like last month, they were getting booed. Actually, they're a little bit more over this time, which I found a little bit more surprising, which I thought was they were going to drop the titles to Imperium, but that wasn't the case. The Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross segment at the end, that was really good. Samoa Joe hitting a tope suicida onto a sea of security guards and Karrion Kross. It was just overall a very entertaining. I think the highlight of the night, though, was Index.
I just really wish that the steam was still there for this Samoa Joe and Karrion Kross match, because this was something that I was really, really, really looking forward to. And then the mystique around Karrion Kross was unjustly stolen on the main roster with a 2-minute loss to Jeff Hardy, and then a inexplicable loss to Keith Lee after he had beaten Keith Lee the week before. I know they've done this thing where he's now squashed Jeff Hardy in back-to-back weeks, but it just has not been enough to save it. I still think this match is going to be a banger. I fully expect Samoa Joe to win on Sunday and Karrion Kross to make the full transition over to Monday Night Raw. But man, oh man, like this was one that I was really looking forward to. And then, his treatment on the main roster coming up really just took all the steam out of this matchup for me.
I think they could have had him go over there. Like, I think they could have had Karrion go over there and just crush people and just use that as a way to promote the NXT champion on Monday Night Raw and have him beat up the lower card, have him take out an Humberto Carrillo, have him take out some other people and just crush them and just do these glorified squash matches where he wrecks people, then turns to the camera and says, "You want to see me do this again? Tomorrow night, I'm going to be on USA Network on NXT." And I just don't know where it did take a lot of the steam out, because I think Samoa Joe is doing some of the best promo stuff he's done in years, and he looks so impassioned by this. And here he is, he's going to get to run with a real stallion, and they went and took the hoofs off the horse here with Karrion Kross. I do think the match was good. I did like the brawling angle. They did one of these a while ago when they got into this at the initial part. Do it again here before the go-home pay-per-view. The pacing is really good. William Regal yelling, "Stop it! Stop it!" I will always enjoy that. I will always be a fan of it. But it does feel like it is an issue here. Have to shout out our man who's always in the chat, Mr. James Espanto Fernando, the guy who's been with me for years. James, I've only FaceTime with you once. I owe you beers. I owe you foods. I owe you hugs.
I owe him beers. I owe him a couple of cases of beers and pizzas too. He's been following me since 2016. So yeah,
just a swell guy. He in the chat plugs the Sportskeeda app. Plugs the Sportskeeda wrestling app.
Hey, James, you can follow me too, and I will sign up on your IOU list.
Overall, I thought this was a strong episode of NXT. This is one of the better episodes they've had in a while. Ratings were down a little bit. The ratings the week before were up, so it is a little bit of a fluctuating thing. Yes, people are worried about NXT. There are reports that WWE's TV partners at USA Network not too happy about the changes to WWE NXT. But
we didn't want a tape show.
Yeah. It did worry me that NXT TakeOver didn't get to go to Vegas with the main roster. That did concern me.
That would have been awesome. If they would have been able to do something at the T-Mobile Arena, for NXT TakeOver 36, they would have been able to put some butts in seats at the T-Mobile Arena.
I know we did this in the top story. You guys can check out our episodes recently. There's been this rumbling of WWE taking Raw and putting it on the roof of the WWE headquarters. And there's been rumblings of WWE taking the show as kind of like a contingency plan with the Delta variants, right? Let's do less events with less crowds. Let's put it in these unique venues, right? I'm okay with it because they saw the Field of Dreams game with Major League Baseball, which was very, very successful. And you know Major League Baseball is going to find a way to do 4 other versions of that. NHL did it with the stadium games, right? I'm okay if you tell me that Monday Night Raw is going to be at a high school stadium. I'm okay if you go to me.
We were just talking about this yesterday.
Yes. My thing is like, do that with NXT. Do that stuff with NXT before you do it with Raw. Like NXT.
Let's do a street fight, Kevin. In the street.
In a real street. All right. We're going to go to Rick's backyard. I want WWE doing a pay-per-view.
I want a casket match at a cemetery.
Yes, exactly. Give me a location. Let's do a match there, Rick. What do you say?
Yeah, sure. They're great. You know, they're great for a quick pop, but they don't fix the overall issues with WWE. And this is something that we have talked about. Long-term storytelling, cohesive storytelling, the constant rematches, the lazy booking, the 50-50 booking, not putting anybody over. I mean, these are the core problems with WWE. You can bring in the John Cenas and the Goldbergs and the edges all you want for the big pay-per-views, but it still doesn't fix your overall problem right now that you don't have anybody legit ready to step up and fight Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley after they probably retain on Saturday. So, I mean, yeah, you can do as much special events as you want, and they will be great, quick little pops and great, quick little fixes, but it doesn't do a damn thing for the overall issues with the main product right now.
Shelton Hicks texting in saying, I just hope to Christ they don't do Adam Cole the same way they did Cedric Alexander and Keith Lee and Ricochet and most absolutely the NXT champion Karrion Kross. These guys are too damn good, talented AF to be some catering crew boys. An ultimate challenge to R-Truth for the 27/7 championship, shaking my damn head to death.
That sounds like the name of a new faction on Monday Night Raw. The Catering Crew Boys.
Led by Apollo Crews. But, look, Shelton's cutting a promo there, but he's absolutely right. That would be a concern of mine if I was Adam Cole. And that's one of the big things that I hated about the Karrion Kross thing. It's like you are jobbing out, in a literal sense, the guy who holds the NXT championship ahead of this big match that he's got coming up with Samoa Joe, this major program, after a full year of being unstoppable, and they have him lose to Jeff Hardy in 2 minutes because they just don't care about what has happened in NXT, and that's that disconnect that I'm talking about. If you wanted to have Karrion Kross go on a massive losing streak after getting called up as a way to bring in Scarlett, that's fine. Wait until after he drops the belt to Samoa Joe and tie that into the storyline. You don't have to do it right this second. But they rushed it, and now they're not even doing the losing streak. Now he's on a 3-match win streak. And like those 2 losses he has doesn't even effing matter anymore. So it's like, what are we doing? And again, part of the long-term issues that I have with WWE.
Long-term issues that I do like with WWE, when they do a tournament in the last few years, the people that win in the tournament tend to get some momentum from it. And especially in WWE NXT when they've done tournaments there. The breakout tournament they did a few years ago, you're not agreeing with me, Rick. But I'm enjoying the breakout tournament. I think Odyssey Jones
this is going to be a banger.
Taking on Carmelo here. 2 guys that are stud athletes from the Performance Center. Odyssey is a super heavyweight that can move.
405 live, baby.
405 pounds.
405.
Moving like a cat. All right. Also, 405-pound guy. You think he could just get in there and just be like, I'm big. I'm going to do my big guy thing. And you're going to bump off my shoulder. All right. That's bigger than you. This guy does not do that. He moves very, very well and also connects with the audience. I'm sorry, Carmelo. You're getting mowed over in this final. You're getting mowed over. This is Odyssey's tournament to win. He has been working dark matches on Raw and SmackDown. Yeah. I understand why.
Yeah, dude, this is a guy. Because I saw him wrestle in Cleveland in a dark match ahead of SmackDown, and this is a guy when he came out, no one knew who he was,
but everyone turned their head.
But the second that match was over, he was one of the most over dudes in the entire night based off of what he did inside the ring. He got people to count along with the 3 count, a fantastic match that he did with Austin Theory that night. This is a guy who knows how to garner attention and to get the audience over with what he does in the ring. The guy is a star, and I think he will be on the main roster sooner rather than later.
What say you, Jose? You saw this guy really, he's connecting with fans. You saw it live.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rick. I actually saw him twice. I saw him on a dark match main event with Austin Theory here in Orlando, and I saw him at the semifinal yesterday during the segment there when Carmelo Hayes won his match against Duke Hudson. Dude, this guy is unbelievable. This guy is like a leveled up version of Mark Henry, right? Imagine Odyssey Jones, Keith Lee, Bobby Lashley, and MVP. Hurt Business 2.0 right there. That's
no, you know what? No, I wouldn't call that Hurt Business 2.0. You know what I would call that? Beef. That is the name of the faction. Beef.
You want beef? We got it.
USDA certified
meat men.
Yes, big meat men slapping meats, getting in there, cracking
Hell,
ribs.
You might as well just have him feud with Big E. That is all the meat bumping he could ever dream of.
Big meaty men, beefy men, sponsored by Arby's. Yes. We got the meats.
There's an Omaha Steaks promo code on the bottom.
It sells itself. It sells itself.
Beef.
Yes, the faction known as Beef. They are USDA certified meat. There we go. I had to get it in. I had to get my stuff in there. We do have a question here. Overall, thumbs up episode of NXT. I'm excited for TakeOver. I wish there was a vibe for TakeOver, like a theme. I wish it was in Vegas. I wish they were doing some other things with it, but it's in transition. I'm okay with that. No, I'm not as excited for this TakeOver as I am other ones, but I'm into it. I do have this question. We've heard reports that WWE NXT will be moving from not taped to a live show. Obviously, this is probably more of a cost-cutting measure. Obviously, we'll save a lot of time if they're taping 2 episodes at a time. Rick, you're shaking your head. You're not feeling this move.
No, I'm not. No, I was shaking my head because you said it backwards. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're going to move to pre-tape shows. Yeah, this is just another bad sign, the writing on the wall for where they're, trying to revert NXT back to where it was. But, I will say one thing, if anything about the NXT brand is it's resilient. It doesn't matter who gets moved up, who gets let go, what changes they make about it. NXT always puts on great shows. They always have banger pay-per-views. This is a brand that will continue to be successful, I truly think, no matter what happens, because they just have a great structure in place creatively. They have young, hungry talent. They have people who are passionate still about this brand, about the black and gold brand on that roster. So as long as that heartbeat is still there, I think NXT is going to be okay. But people just have to understand that internally, based on reports and everything that we've seen, where there's smoke, there's fire. The WWE itself considers NXT once again to be a developmental brand, good, bad, or indifferent.
Jose, your take. You're in Orlando. You know what it's like with fans attending those events. You're talking to fans. You're involved in that local wrestling community. What was the vibe with fans locally in that move?
Listen, I'll tell you one thing, man. The NXT fan, just like the AEW fan, is a very loyal, tribalistic fan. Yeah. Those NXT fans are very, very loyal and rightfully so. I don't know how long this is going to go for. I almost kind of got a feeling that this is going to be a temporary thing because I don't think the network, especially USA, is going to put up with that. Especially when they dish out millions of dollars for this live wrestling show for a 2-hour deal. They didn't pay for a tape show; they paid for a live show. So
they paid for a live appointment. Make the appointment with us. Watch the TV show on Tuesday.
Exactly.
That's
so. I think
it's also more meaningful to your advertiser. If you're an advertiser,
exactly
for a live show. Yeah.
Exactly. But I also think that this is going to be something temporary to kind of like give us the new logo that they're talking about, the new repackaged NXT, so that way they can get 4 weeks worth of shows out of the way, and then next month, if they come back live, then we get a revamped version of NXT. I don't know.
That was my
Unless-
talk to do.
Unless Jose, that they do a full revert and NXT's not on USA this time next year. They're strictly a Peacock show again.
And they were before. Or at the WWE Network for, 5-6 years? Before they went into the USA Network.
It wasn't
I mean,
bad then.
however much money they're getting to put NXT on USA programming, it is a drop in the bucket compared to what they're getting for the Peacock network anyway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know they're all about business and making sure the bottom line is as good as possible. We've seen plenty of evidence of that this year, but I mean, if USA doesn't want to put NXT on live programming anymore, if they'd rather run Chris Lee Knows Best for crying out loud, they
Wow, look
they'll
at those
do that.
guys wrestling. Me and my family are going to go to the wrestling show. And I don't get that, guy.
That's a spot.
I've watched.
That is a spot on impression.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little creeped out right now.
Why is that, Richard?
Richard, what's wrong with you, Richard?
I'm gonna get my rebellious
China.
son. I'm gonna get my rebellious son Colton.
Why can't I remove myself? Damn it! I'm out.
No, I honestly I don't think them moving to a tape show is the worst thing in the world. I agree with Jose, and this is just me talking to people I know in the wrestling industry who are outside of WWE that have done some work in WWE that are mostly production people. And I kind of put some feelers out to them. I said, I'm not reporting anything. Just give me your take on this and what do you think? And they just kind of brushed it off. And they said, for NXT, that's not that big of a deal. Obviously, if that happened with Raw or SmackDown, it would be. And it's more in line with let's get the show where we want it. If we pre-tape it, we can get it just the way we want it. And we can get the production right. We can make it look fresher. And I think it has more to do with that than maybe it would, changing even the roster. I mean, the biggest roster change was bringing over talent from the UK that you kind of already know are there. They just brought over two very prominent names from that. I'm not downgrading it, but it does worry me. I agree. NXT should feel bigger and cooler than it is. But I do think it's one of these things that's become a victim of all these different widespread changes they have in the pandemic that they really definitely have been digging deep into. And I wonder what they'll be like. Hopefully things open up and continue to open up and people get the vaccine. It's worth noting if you are going to wrestling events, I know you guys are going to be handling this as well. I've talked to you guys about it as well. Live Nation, which is the biggest. I want to get your guys' take on this before. Live Nation, before we sign off, is one of the biggest concert promoters in the United States. They own the most arenas. They operate the most arenas. And they are in bed with Ticketmaster, which if you bought a ticket in the United States, you've likely bought it through Ticketmaster. Live Nation put out the edict along with AEG events that they are demanding that you have a vaccination card and a negative COVID test to start attending their events after October 4th, and that all of their employees will have to be vaccinated completely by that point, not just having a negative COVID test, just to come to work. So this is really going to force the hand of many wrestling organizations coming up here in a few weeks. I was watching AEW Dynamite tonight. That was not a Live Nation venue as far as I know. I could be wrong about that. Some masks in the crowd, some masks not in the crowd. You guys are going to be at Allegiant Stadium. They have a mask mandate in Nevada. Yep. It's hard to police it. What do you think here? This is Live Nation. There's no control over that. WWE doesn't dictate that. The arena is telling you that that's the way it's going to be. What do you think here with COVID precautions, wrestling events, especially at the arena scale in the next few months?
I mean, it's those businesses' rights to do that. I mean, they're not forcing anybody to buy the tickets. They're basically saying, hey, look, if you want to come to these shows, if you want to see Foo Fighters or you want to see Maroon 5, hell, Maroon 5, the band themselves says, hey, look, if you want to come to our show, doesn't matter where we play. We could be playing at a freaking Walmart. You need to be vaccinated. And so you're going to be seeing a lot more of this. It's just, the new wave.
Rick, are you a Maroon 5 fan? Did you just...
No, I do news in Cincinnati, right? And that was a news story a week ago. Yes, okay. Maroon 5.
Right. Look at that Jesse face from heaven.
I'm the rock and roll DJ, dude. I'll talk about Foo Fighters all day, but
hey, that song's about Jane or whatever the hell album that they first put out.
That was
good.
a jam. That was a jam. Good. I will say that.
That was a good one. Then they became too poppy for me. What's the lead singer's name? Adam Levine. I couldn't think of the guy's name. I think that's what it is anyway. Who cares? But yeah, you have groups who are saying, hey, look, you need to be vaccinated. We're going to put in our own mask mandates. This is just what's going to happen. And if WWE or AEW or whomever is going to continue to tour, look, I mean, whether it's state guidelines, whether it's local municipality guidelines or the arenas themselves, they're going to have to adhere to those. And I think that's just, unless you want to put a broad policy in place, look, they can put the blame on governors. They can put the blame on venues. They don't have to take any responsibility for it. They can just sit here and say, hey, if you want to come to our show at Madison Square Garden, you got to get vaccinated.
Mask up. Yeah, and have a COVID-19 test, you know. That's another thing is now with this variant, so you can be vaccinated and you still have these breakthrough cases, which are very limited, you know, but you're hearing about them because they're reported, right? So then everyone.
Texas's governor. Yeah, Texas, he's fully vaccinated, but he has no symptoms. Symptoms. Very important thing.
The singer Korn got it and he's doing fine. There's some other bands that had the same issue as well. Some bands are just getting off the road. So I'm waiting to see if AEW or WWE comes in and says, hey, this is what we're doing now, you know, and
I don't think you're going to see that. I think they're going to continue.
If we haven't seen it now, we're not going to see it. I think it's just like Rick said, it's going to be on the venue and it's going to be on whatever governing body in that state or city is going to be.
I was waiting to see that. I'm waiting to see if they're going to do it, but I don't see it's going to happen. We can wait for it, but I don't think it's going to be happening. And it's going to be different going state to state. And we brought up Foo Fighters as well. Dave Grohl saying, hey, the wheels could fall off at any minute here while we're doing this. You know, we already had a hiccup with COVID. And we had to get off the road for a week and a half and make sure we were fine with it.
I can guarantee you, by the way, I'm not a fan of his, but Garth Brooks just canceled his entire tour. He was set to come to Cincinnati as well. So he shut off a bunch of his shows, his stadium tour, because of COVID concerns. So he's not even doing mask mandate or vaccine. He just canceled all of his damn shows.
I think a stadium is so hard to run. I mean, you guys are going to be at one on Sunday, right? Yeah. Let me know what that's like. Let me know what that experience is like and what they're doing with it.
We're going to be in our. Oh, damn, Jose, did you bring binoculars? Because we're going to be in the press box.
I did not. I did not bring any binoculars. Sorry.
Well, we're going shopping.
Did you have a good
Same
time?
thing happened in Tampa.
Over an hour of talking about wrestling. We will be live following Sunday's NXT TakeOver. If you enjoyed all the TakeOver talk, we will be live after Rampage on Friday with Smack Talk as well. So it'll be interesting here. We have a lot of content for you. Are we the number one wrestling media thing in the world? No. But if we're number one in your heart, that's all that matters, baby. That's all that matters.
We're number 112. We're number 112. We're not.
On some podcast charts, audio podcast charts. Thank you guys for putting us on the charts in the Philippines, Australia, the United States, Ireland, and the UK this week. I'm thankful for that. But YouTube-wise, get us to 20,000. We are 500 subscribers away from 20,000. So we are so thankful for that. To the James Espontos, to the Scott Burks, to the people that are riding hard with us, Jessica, Ozzy. I see some people in here with us all the time. But to the people that are just jumping on board, we want you in the party. We want you in the old virtual cow. So come on down, have a seat, talk to wrestling with us. Guys, if they want to follow your social media handles for all the fun things you guys are doing in Las Vegas, all the money you're losing, tell us where they can follow.
Oh, I'm not planning on gambling at all, but y'all can follow me at Jose.
Bullshit.
I am not gambling. I'm not a gambler.
Ricky just buried him, all right? He's got family watching, and they're going to find out what happened.
We're going to Caesar's Palace.
I'm not trying to lose my...
This is over.
Oh, you must take an Uber because I ain't driving nowhere. Not after traveling 10 hours. Hell no. Anyways, y'all can follow me, Jose G _ in between official on Instagram and on Twitter. Follow my show, Regents of Wrestling. We're not going to be live tomorrow, but we will be back live next week on Facebook and on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Rick, what about you, bud?
You can follow me at Beef.
Oh my God.
No, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at Rick Uccino, RICKUCCHINO. I know Jose and myself, we have a lot of interviews that are going to be coming down the pike real soon ahead of SummerSlam. So you'll be the first to know about it if you follow either of us on the good old Twitter machine. Usually tomorrow I would be recording I would be recording the Inside Cradle with Kev Kellum, but because of said media responsibilities, SP3 is going to be joining Kev for the Inside Cradle, his 1900th show out of 2200 this week. If you just ask him about it, he'll tell you about all of them. But usually you can check us out 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Inside Cradle here on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel. And, of course, you got Smack Talk at a special time, 11:05 this week. Sid, Dutch Mantel, and myself are going to be breaking down the big CM Punk news and whatever the hell happens on SmackDown.
I am a fan when I look at the chat and people say the ending catchphrase at the end of the stream. I really, really do appreciate that. That means a lot to me. If you're just joining us, you're with us here at the end of the chat. We always end every show with this, and this should be the way you do it. Maybe this is what we got to get on a T-shirt at some point. You can argue about AEW and CM Punk and how much money Rick is going to lose and how I'm going to have to Venmo money just to get home and all this stuff. Like we're going to get into all of it. Okay.
No. Have Jeremy Venmo him money. He clearly got paid off by Jeremy. So have Jeremy Venmo him some goddamn money if he loses.
Huh?
Hey, why should I have to wait for the question to be finished if I know what the answer is before the question is finished?
It wasn't.
Yes, it is. That's the whole point of buzzing.
It's a tarnish. It's a tarnish.
That's the whole point. It's a quick draw contest. It's a quick draw. If I know the answer, I'm gonna say the answer. Yes, when you're buzzing in, it's not a, hey, Kevin, here's your turn. If you answer correctly, good. If you don't, Rick gets a chance to steal. It's a whoever buzzes in first question. And you're only pissed off because you lost to the champ.
Richard.
Got to change the rules now. We got to change the rules.
Richard.
Uh-oh. He went solo. Uh-oh.
Do you think I don't know people in Las Vegas right now?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Just keep it.
I know it.
I'm going to leave. I'm going to...
You started this.
Don't worry.
See? The rig. Was it rigged? Go watch and you guys decide if it was rigged. Jose is out of here. He's going to get the wrench that I paid him to use to crack Rick in the back of the knee.
I'm going to get Nancy Kerrigan over here.
Don Skaggs agrees with you. And, of course, James is with me with the hashtag Yellow McKellum, baby. Yellow McKellum, baby. All right. Thank you guys so much for enjoying the show. We really, really do appreciate it. So much coming on. So much content for you guys to choose. So you spend so much time with us. We really do appreciate it. Remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing. And I want you to do it despite all of the college funds for your children. You're going to lose this week, Rick, which I think is irresponsible. It's just me. I just think it's irresponsible. Rick, tell them what they got to do.
Enjoy me kicking Kevin's butt at SummerSlam Trivia on YouTube. And enjoy wrestling.
That wasn't the thing, and I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that comment you just made there. Enjoy wrestling, bye.